when you make a deal with the devil, when you make a deal with the devil, you must see it through. You have to see it through. What do I mean by that? It's simple. As you go through life, there's things that occur naturally to us. Ideas, things to say. It's not planned in the mind, it just happens. It gets breathed out into life. Like a dragon breathing fire. It doesn't think, it doesn't need to think, have I got the firepower? It just blows fire. So we do things like that. And there's a natural way of life. There's a way things seem right. There's a way we don't get into our own heads and we don't get frustrated, and we don't ever have a moment of realization where you think, damn, this is strange, I've gone down a wrong path, I regret this. When you sort of live naturally, when you're in the flow, bad things can happen, but you kind of see a bigger picture and you don't feel lost. That's the main thing. You understand what's happening to you intuitively. It's a special place to be in, and I think to get to that place, which is a lucky place, it's an auspicious place, the point is we lose that. See, we're born with that vision. Hell, sometimes we're not even born with that because of karma. Stuff comes up the moment we're born. As someone said, even being born is trauma. Everything's trauma, in a way. And I don't mean it negatively, it's just, inevitably, you need some kind of resistance to live, to experience joy, right? Because a lot of joy comes from overcoming the resistance. Or it could be from resisting. I mean, think about just going to the gym, right? I enjoy that. What was my point? My point was, when you make a deal, see, you're breathing fire, you're going through life, bam, 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 stuff's happening. But then you get tempted. You're on your mission, and then you see a lady with a nice ass, and you start chasing that, and you leave your dirt path for that path, so to speak. And then, here's the thing, a lot of the time, you can't just turn around and undo that and go back on your path. You can't do that. You can't just do that, because then the path is lost, because you've already gone so far down. Okay, if you see something, if you see a bad thing, you entertain maybe the idea, and then you turn away, right? By the way, that still means the desire's alive in you, but anyway, you can turn away, okay, you're still on your path, but because we can recognize our temptations, but if you go and pursue it, be aware that you're making a pact with the devil, you're making a pact with demons. Now, that sounds horrible, that sounds terrible. It doesn't, because the devil really isn't out to rape you in the middle of the night. He's not out to slap you blow on your face and slap you when you're 9 years old through the window, or give you bad dreams, or make your pencil levitate. He's not out there to do any of that. He's a trickster. He takes stuff that God made, basically. He takes beautiful things, emulates them, and tries to hand them to you for free and he says to you, look, just have this. You don't need to work for it, just take it. How about that? And you say, okay, yes. But a lot of the time we're not aware of the catch. Because when we fall for temptations, when we leave the path, there's always a catch. Even if it's the most beautiful thing ever. I mean, you can have a whole relationship like this, and it's part of the process as well. It's part of the plan, where you kind of fall for a temptation with a friend or a lover, or even like a family member. There's a way that you're tempted to be, which you think it looks beautiful. That's the problem. It looks beautiful, but the moment you go down it, something feels wrong, but then you want to double down and commit. And I think This is what I mean by seeing through. You sometimes have to commit to that choice. You have to settle your deal with the devil. And only then can you, once you pay a price, because you'll have to pay a price, basically, you'll suffer. Every time you make a decision like this, that's wrong, basically. Even if you realize it's wrong later and you might cry out to the world and say, well, I didn't know any better. Okay, now you know. You still have to pay. So, you know, you have to pay for it, and you'll pay for it in terms of suffering. You'll suffer. And you might have to do stuff as well. You might have to shake it off. You might have to shake things off. You might have to shake off. What do you shake off? What you really shake off is, well, it depends on the issue, you know. If it's an addiction, you shake off the addiction, basically. You try and quit. And you have an intuitive moment where you're like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. This is clearly just a cope, basically. This is giving me a fake thing, which is, I don't even like it anymore, and its presence is wasting my time and stopping me from getting where I actually want to be in life. And a lot of things can be like that, actually. There's actually not a single thing in this world which isn't like that, because I'm sure people have been addicted to mowing grass, for example. People cope in so many different ways. I was going to say weird ways. I mean, why not weird ways? There's the common ones, which are feel-goods, but let's not forget, people are workaholics too, and, you know, any kind of repetitive activity which has a significance, that can be a cope, that can be an addiction. So where was I getting to? Look, basically, it's really important you just see things through. Very important. And you just have to accept your fate, because that's the only way you can get back on track. And it's a blessing. It's really a blessing, because you'll never repeat that mistake. And actually, you'll be able to avoid it in the future. And actually then you'll profit even more. Your life will be better. And it's tough. With relationships in particular, it's tough. Because people are involved, and, you know, Jesus was tempted in the desert by the devil. He said, turn the rock into bread, yeah? But it's different with relationships. You can be people aren't objects. Well, they are in a very primitive, in the most fundamental sense, yes, they are. Flesh. They're flesh, blood, and nervous system and wiring and neurons and all of this, and it's only our ego and mind that creates a narrative that there's a person and an identity. It's our brain that does this function, the mind. So yeah, people are objects at base level, but we can't live without an ego, right? We have to have some kind of narrative in life. That's kind of just the destiny. That's just how we're born. We can't turn that off. So navigating temptations within relationships is very difficult sometimes. And it's hard to know when the individual ends and when the object starts, you know, with a partner. It's hard to know when there's the difference between the subject and the object. It's hard to know the difference between what is tempting me here and what is this person before me, this being before me, who I really love, because we only suffer because we love, you know. Maybe that's kind of a different topic, but that was my point. Take it how you will. When you make a deal with the devil, when you make a pact with the devil, see it through. There's nothing wrong with it. You have to make the payment. You got something good, it turned out not to be so good, and now you have to pay for it. So it's a double loss, but you know, every double loss is really a double win. Two negatives make a positive. Hello, helicopter. Something like that. Anyway, see you later.